I got really excited about moose.
This moose is actually really cool.
So I want to paint some moose. I had it not been 3 hours of stream at the point where I got the primer done, because I built him and primed him on stream on Saturday, and I had a full head of steam and was about to start painting, and then the dogs jumped on my the chair on Doggo Cam and were like, "It's dinner time, Dad," and I did not realize that 3 hours had passed by that quick. So that's where we're at.
Moose is the name of my car, says little Billy.
The moose is what?
What? Moose is the only name of your car.
I don't understand.
Is the name of my car.
I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know how to help you.
You call your car Moose?
Moosin. Many much moosin.
Mises.
Mises? Is it Mises?
It's Mises.
All right, I think I fixed YouTube, everybody.
You fixed YouTube?
Yep. Call it in, Google. You're welcome. Monument's about to bill you.
You don't want this bill.
Go over there and make sure if you're
Chris
around
fixed
there.
YouTube.
I found it. Okay, so where are we starting with this, Jason? Because
okay, so wait. When you say you fixed YouTube, does this mean that now if Mr. Beast goes and tries to log in, he can't get into his channel? Because that's about the only way you can fix YouTube. That and all those other weird content creators.
Maybe that is true. What model is this? Says Colossal Meltdown.
It is called Moose. It's from Conquest, and I didn't bring the box, so I don't remember what they're called. The Gem-Red Knights for Weaver Quartz. I remembered, chat.
Wait, is this a hero or is this just a knight?
This is just a regular dude.
Nice.
Just a regular bro. Doing regular bro moose things. And, yeah.
Regular bro moose things.
Yeah, you know, when you're a regular bro.
I noticed, Jason, you decided to go straight to the brush. Not with an airbrush for your base coat on this.
Correct.
Is that just for fun?
Well, I do that a lot, Chris.
I guess I've been seeing a lot of the
we did all of Willy without an airbrush.
That's true. I meant Conquest in particular.
Oh.
Like you were doing a bunch of zenithaling, essentially.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
I didn't know.
We've been using a lot of one step and doing that. I really want to focus on doing a number on these mooses.
Yeah.
I can't stand Mises to pieces. So yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this the serious business paint way.
Now, Chris is there's a lot going on today, chat, but I'm checking one thing here. It seems okay. Everything seems to be working fine on our end.
Is YouTube working now?
YouTube is working. Plus, it's live on our site too.
What?
We're live on our site.
What? We
Yes.
made a new thing, chat. You
do.
can watch the stream. You can't chat there.
You can't chat. Unfortunately, they want our money, and by our money, I mean
They mean your money.
But
they want your advertising dollars, and they
Yeah.
can't get it if they have you be able to chat on our website. But now you can log in, or you don't have to even log in. You can just go to
you
monumenthobbies.com
can
and the
just
stream is
watch it.
there.
you can hide the
Did
chat.
you check that? Is it working?
I see
That's
the-
momentous, Chris.
Look at this. Watch this. You can see it there. and
HolyMonumentHobbies.com.
Oh.
Is this? I don't. What'd you do?
There we go.
Is this the main page, or is this
Yeah.
the community page?
This is the community page.
If you go to the community page,
I just linked it.
there at the top of the community page is a stream. I want you guys to go look at that. See the great. You don't have to do anything there, but just
Yeah.
look at that.
And
How rad is that?
essentially I'm doing it as a test bed to make sure everything is working. Seems to, and I can also see your guys' chats too.
How rad is that?
A lot going on, chat. Big steps made.
Look at us growing up. We're all grown up. This is Dark Plum. Jason, why are you using Dark Plum?
What are you?
Well, that's
using
Chris.
Dark Plum.
Chris, you just asked that. I was just about to get to it.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
I heard you.
You read my mind.
No, I heard you.
You heard me?
You said, Jason,
Jason?
why are you just going straight to Dark Plum?
I don't know about this voice you choose for me.
I love how he gets to have it. Like you have any say in the voices we choose for you.
I know. I don't know why.
Why what? Why you don't like it?
I don't know why.
You don't know why what?
No, I don't know why it I don't know why I don't like it.
Oh, so maybe you should think about what you've done to all the other people in your life that you've met and made voices for, Chris. Maybe this is a time
That's true.
that you need to really evaluate
Yeah.
how other people feel when you make up voices for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna.
Uh-huh.
He's not gonna.
No,
wait
I
until
won't
he
evaluate.
does Tim's voice again.
That was a paint. That was a great cast shadow. Jason says Lumberjack.
Thank you.
Did you see that video I put in Discord?
It's
Fuse?
not done, but yes, I'm digging the whole Willie.
Lumberjack, you said you put it was a video. It was a painting at an expedition in Moscow that my friend sent me. No, I'll have to look at it. Sorry, Lumberjack. I was dealing with stuff, you guys. I will catch up to your questions. I was making sure everything was set on YouTube's chat, but it seems to be working. Haley, I took the day off, so I actually get to paint while watching stream. Nice.
Nice.
We always love that. So what's new on the studio, says Shadowcast? Oh, was this something you guys were talking about?
Well, I told him that we didn't stream on Friday because of the meeting to go meet at the studio, and then I posted up saying that the studio building was really cool. Unfortunately, we'll see how it turns out. I think the deal for our building here is going to fall through.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be negative about it, but it just turns out that the people that are making the offer on the building here, I think, are shysters.
Yeah, they're looking for weird things.
Yeah, they sent some things back to us that they want to have happen that Jen and I aren't pleased at all about. So we'll see how that goes. We're just going to basically redline their entire email they sent today and say, no, we're not doing any of this. Let us know if you're still interested. So,
gotcha.
We won't be held hostage through bad negotiation. So I won't negotiate with terrorists.
Rocco got the new framables. Nice. So freaking hyped.
So we'll see. We
cool.
might still work out that we can move the studio, but it might mean that Jen and I just buckle up and say, hey, let's just do the experience center in the building we have already. And parking be damned. We'll just do the Monument Hobbies experience here at 3rd Street.
What about that parking garage behind us? Is there any hope there?
It's hard because then it's very hard to explain to people to park there.
Oh,
they can park all out on the street opposite us, though, so we can put a sign out that says just park on Claremont.
Yeah.
Park along Claremont in the no parking spots.
Can make a big...
And on the weekend, they can park at the daycare next door. Because the daycare
yeah.
doesn't operate on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, as long as we can't just confine ourselves to business on the weekends because that's not how you do the business, but...
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. No promises. We'll see what happens.
Yes,
We've been
Angel.
wanting to do a Monument Hobbies experience center where we can have painting setups and, something like what we did at Adepticon, but full year round and do classes and have artists come out and do all sorts of fun stuff, as well as just be able to come out and see the stream and interrupt Chris during the course of his day every day so that he gets no work done. That would be great.
That would not be great.
That would be great.
That would be false.
Hey, Chris, I got some guests for you.
I do like having guests in the stream.
Oh, it's awesome.
I do like having guests here, though. It's
100%.
fun. Don't get me wrong.
I hate not having a place where guests can come and get... I guess the manufacturing is still cool. I kind of poo-poo it because it's been around so long. But the having people over at the factory feels good. They redid the whole front room of the factory.
They did, and
it looks really good.
It looks pretty solid.
Yeah, it looks really good, so that's cool. It doesn't feel like such a mess when you walk through the door now.
Yeah.
For customers, which is cool.
Jason, can you scoot down just a little bit?
I can't. This is where I paint.
More centered up for me.
Can you move your camera? Because this is where I paint.
I can. I was looking at some cool stuff this weekend, Jason.
Maybe zoom back out a little bit.
I can't actually do that. There we go. There we go.
Oh, look at that.
That looks great.
There you go.
This makes me want to eat some beef jerky.
Yes.
I don't know why, but
elk jerky.
Num, 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 num. I love elk jerky.
Elk jerky is so good.
It's very good. Mally and everyone at Ludiverse booth were so nice. It was a blast. Send them a huge hug and thank you. Absolutely, Lapton.
Ludiverse was
amazing.
Balls. We got updates all throughout the weekend. Mally, Allie, Thomas, I think all had a blast.
Yeah.
They had their son there.
It was
cheap
it
labor.
looked fun.
We had child labor in the booth. Don't tell anybody.
That wasn't. They were there having playtime.
Unpaid labor. Don't tell the French authorities.
Don't tell the French authorities.
But that child did not get paid. Just saying.
Ghost Hunter said, I asked Jason to send her up on Saturday.
He did, and I didn't. So that's good.
We have much to do, chat. I need to make a trip over to Jason's house. Still.
I turned my ISO down to like 500.
It looked good. You turned it down to 500?
Yeah.
Ludiverse were my first ever paint competition and got silver medal on top. That was so much
Heck
fun.
yeah.
Nice.
Really? That's the first Ludiverse. That's great.
Harrison, sorry, I just popped in. I had a break in my schedule. What color is that? It's dark plum.
This is dark plum.
Yep.
It is a good in between purple and red for an undercoat. So if you want to break away from, my standard, hey, paint it purple. Maybe you have an aversion to purple, but you understand the whole need for a cooler color. This allows you to, with dark plum, go into a little bit of a warmer spectrum of reds. And where royal purple may be too over the top, dark plum kind of gets in there and has a similar effect and is going to allow us to do like a dark hot pink over the top of it. I'm going to keep it in kind of a magenta undertones world as we build up all of our skin tones. I think I would like that.
Hey, Chaos Angel, 13 months. So I hit my 13-month and my 7-5 stream streak on Saturday, and Chris wasn't there to announce it, but I'm here to announce it today.
Fantastic.
Hey, Chaos Angel, thank you so much.
I'm glad we didn't break your streak on Saturday. I always worry about that because I know some of you guys really take it seriously. I don't ever think about it, so I never do it maliciously. But I will stream when I want to stream.
We won't negotiate with evil.
Wait a minute. They're not being evil.
No, not them. More of like No, I guess that's true. I don't know where I was going with that. I need to reset my brain.
Did you just call chat evil?
No.
Oh, you did?
We want to make sure we are aware of your stream streaks. No, you're not evil, Chaos Angel, even though your name is Chaos Angel.
Which, by definition, kind of makes you evil, I think.
Paint Liquor says, Dark Plum is magic.
It is magic. It's such... Look at that. It's just too good.
Yeah.
It's just too good.
Desi Who says, we're not evil. We're just misunderstood.
Oh, my God.
Chris, did you all have fun this weekend? Yes, it was a good time. It was a very fun time.
Was it fun, win-win good time?
Yes.
Oh,
it was good.
All right.
It was a nice event. So,
did Gabe have a good birthday up there?
He did. It was funny because there was just randomly everybody just starts singing happy birthday the entire day. Nice. So there's 400 guys in the big mess hall. Essentially, it was a big retreat. It was a men's retreat.
And they all sang happy birthday.
Well,
to Gabe?
we just like somebody at the table. We just like happy birthday, and then obviously everybody just starts doing it because they don't know what's going on. But they're like, why not?
Nice. I told him I wouldn't sing because he wasn't on the stream. So.
Oh, but we saw everybody. He saw your Discord messages as well. So he said thank you to everybody in Discord. I don't know why I keep giving him free pub, but
because Gabe's an all right guy.
Yeah.
Although he's not here today, so that's...
I should have brought Blood Bowl up there. I was regretting that this weekend. There was some downtime, and I decided to bring Magic, but got schooled in it.
Did you? By who?
Jordan.
Oh.
Jordan went
Jordan
up.
went?
Jordan went.
Wait a minute.
He went up.
Wait a minute.
He did.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So you invited Jordan.
Technically, Gabe did. I'm going to give him that. Did Gabe not? Uh-oh. We're in the doghouse now.
I don't talk to you.
Man, Jordan was wrecking me, though. I did do a really good Hobbit combo on him, though, but still beat me. I likened it to playing against Michael Jordan, and I was a Little League coach to somebody who was like, what are you guys playing? I'm like, I'm trying to play Magic. and Jordan over here is destroying me. But yeah, it was good. Forager, thank you so much for that. You went to a Magic pre-release this weekend? Like a... I don't do those. I don't do pre-release Magic. I just do filthy proxy decks. Is that right, Jason? Oh, he's done. Uh-oh, chat.
So how you doing, chat?
Oh, no. Gabe, we're in the doghouse.
How you doing, chat? How's it going? How's life?
Oh, no.
How's life? Just you and me, chat.
No, there
You
it
and
is. Oh, no.
You and me, chat.
You didn't know Jordan was coming up? There was a miscommunication here because
Here we go.
if you didn't know that, then we've got
Here
some.
we go.
We've got some.
Here
This
we
is
go.
not good.
Here we go.
This is now making sense because I figured I don't know what to say here. I'm in the doghouse now, chat. Oh no. Where's my button? Gabe's taking today off. Who's Chris? I'm so sorry, Jason. This was unintentional.
What? I know.
Oh, he's
We're
leaving.
friends. What?
He's about to leave. Oh, what do you got in that drink there, son?
None of your business.
Oh no, he cut me off. Jason, how am I gonna fix this?
Dark hot pink, folks.
Oh no.
Goes right over the top of dark plum like a dream.
Dark hot pink.
Like a dream.
There may be a miscommunication on Chris's next paycheck. What? How am I getting blamed for this? Oh no! Oh. Jason's upset. How do I fix this? How do I fix our relationship, Jason?
There is no way. That's not.
Maybe
how
it
this
was
works.
good that Gabe took today off.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Gabe, if you're out there lurking, we're in the doghouse. Not with a dilly bar. Oh, we could do a dilly bar. We could pay for our missed passes here for a dilly bar. Get that for Jason. Thor's pause. This is false. Lumberjack's asking, are you doing a hot pink plaid moose, Jason?
Yes.
I don't think I think he's lying to you, chat. I don't think he's doing a hot pink plaid moose.
If I don't do a hot pink plaid moose, it's only because the only reason that this moose would not turn out to be hot pink is because Gabe and Chris are horrible people.
Oh.
Otherwise, it would be a totally
He's
hot
gonna,
pink plaid moose, except
he's gonna milk this one for a long time, chat.
that
Oh no. Oh my. Yeah. Well, I see. It's going to be a real quiet stream, isn't it, Jason?
oh, you have no idea.
Now, is the end goal going to be darker fur, or is it going to be mythical fae fur?
Yes.
Because this could go both ways. Kind of how you did your tree. Because you could just do a really fun underpaint, and then it could go a totally different way.
Yeah, I'm not underpainting. I'm actually going to be layering up with these colors. Where I go color-wise, though, is anybody's guess. I'm going to let it guide me as we go.
Yeah.
So I'm mixing the dark hot pink and the dark plum. I guess 50-50 right now.
Fae fur, I hardly know her. Thank you, little Billy. Fae fur? I hardly know her. Lumberjack, I know you've been asking for it. You've been asking for hot pink plaid for a long time, years. DK, doing a moose on stream, at some point will he do a llama? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think a llama is in our future. Ghost Hunter's asking you, Jason, are Jordan and Philip bad people too?
Wait, Philip win?
No, Philip did not go.
So why would Philip be in this?
No, I don't know why.
Trying to incite riots? What are you doing?
This is what Ghost Hunter is saying, and I'm just repeating.
Jordan can't be held accountable for these two's transgressions. Jordan was just being the good guy. He was going, supporting his friends. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't asking you, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
You obviously don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sam says, short stream for me today. Have to go and put a fence up. Oh! Have a good evening. Great. Good luck with that fence.
Yeah.
I hope you don't take...
Enjoy your fencing.
I hope you don't take offense about when you're putting up your fence. Or hopefully your neighbors don't take offense about the fence. Nailed it.
Chris is Chris's own biggest fan.
I have to be.
Why is that?
Just got to keep going, Jason. Jason took offense not being invited, Christopher. He did. This is going to be a discussion point in our leadership meeting on Wednesday.
Oh, no. You're not going to the leadership meeting on Wednesday.
We're all fired. Every clean slate monument.
Yeah, that's it.
Everybody gets punished.
This is called accountability. If the rest of the leadership team couldn't hold them accountable and make them be good people, well, then why do I even have you here?
It's going to be a discussion point.
Discussion point. I'm going to put it in on the to-dos.
Here's the to-do. End it all. And by end it all, I mean clean slate it. Back to square one. Joke was a bad, not invited. Okay. That joke was bad. It was as bad as not inviting Jason to this weekend. Hey, there was a massive miscommunication.
No, there wasn't.
Oh, there was.
Oh, no. This is beyond miscommunication. This is trundling into zero communication territory. Why do you always hit the burp one?
Because I accidentally hit it. I was supposed to hit the glass one, but then the burp one's kind of funny.
but then the burp one is kind of funny.
Little Billy says, Jason, you seem to paint with intense focus while doing just the base layer.
Yeah.
How do you keep focus with Christopher's knife in your... Oh, wow.
It's hard.
With your Christopher's knife in your back.
It's hard. It's very hard.
Crap. That was...
It's very hard. You get used to it, though. I've worked with him for years now.
Yeah.
So you just you get used to it.
Name 15 times he stabbed you in the back. It only takes one, is what he's going to say.
It only takes one.
No, this is Rocco. He is using dark hot pink over this.
Mixed in with the dark plum. It's about a 50-50 mix of dark hot pink and dark plum. Mm-hmm. And then I will step up the dark hot pink in the mixture to get it to be brighter each step I go.
Now, was your intention to do this like fey fur? Like a purplish, pinkish skin?
Well, I don't know what fey fur means. That doesn't make sense to me. Fey is not a color.
Let me repeat that. Not fey, more of like a out of fantasy world kind of fur?
Yeah, some sort of like just otherworldly color. Yes.
Because this is kind of reminds me of something like the Fey wood, where the woods are blue, pinks, and oranges and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I think that inside of that, I want to find some sort of color scheme that isn't just your typical like autumn or spring, right? I want to find something that's a little more magical, something that's a little more otherworldly than just, because when you're doing things, because the Weaver Courts are basically this game's wood elves.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, right? They would probably get mad at me by saying that, but they are. They're basically this game Conquests. They're wood elves.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just paint, wood elves in greens and browns.
Right.
All that. I want to have something that feels like it is
mystical, almost.
A little more mystical, a little bit more because these guys are also aliens.
What's the way you did your tree? Oh, they're aliens. That's right.
Right? They're aliens on the planet, so they wouldn't necessarily just, be super camo oriented to the planet's color. So maybe they brought their own color palette and are using all the organic material from this, whatever narrative you want to build.
I forgot you mentioned that they are actually aliens.
Yeah, they're aliens to this point. They actually came in spacefaring ships.
Yeah.
To this planet that is all fantasy.
I was building
tropes, which is really neat.
Dancers last night.
Yeah, the Weaver Court.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, the bug faces and everything are really neat.
Yeah.
So.
I finished the birds, the Basca something with the knives, and then I've got most of those.
Those guys are
done.
cool. Those are moths.
Yeah. They're cool. The dancers are cool.
This whole faction is really neat. Great design. Yeah. Some of the new models coming out that the beetle dudes
those
or
are
the
cool.
Crab guys are freaking awesome. So I'm excited for those.
Those are cool. Gilborn says, I finished my Namor late last night.
Nice.
Hey, need you say Namor?
Oh my God.
Need you say more?
Need you name more?
No. Jason, let's back up. Need you say Namor? Namor, you say more.
See.
Okay, but now that we're saying it like that, I think that's hilarious.
It's not. It's not.
Need I say no? Too much.
It's need I nay more.
Need I say nay more?
No,
Jason.
you.
I like how you're trying. Everybody's trying to correct my English bit.
When
it's just ridiculous from the beginning.
He doesn't know how to speak English, so give up.
Say nay more. Nay I say nay more. Wirehead. What's going on?
He's
Age to John.
He's incorrigible.
Ziggy Church Chili created the moose costume, says TK421. Hey, I don't know what that means, but that's cool.
That's where we started.
TK said
that's where we're at.
A moose bit your sister? What?
And that's what Mises do.
Moose are aggressive animals.
Moose aren't to joke around with. They are not comedians. Moose are down to serious business. Chris thinks he's down for serious business. Chris is no moose.
I am no moose.
You can take that to the bank. He's typing, chat, so he's not paying any attention right now. Now's the time, chat.
I was answering somebody's
Make your comments.
question. I love the transparent video. Any more transparents coming out? Any plans on transparents coming out, Jason?
I have one other transparent, particularly that is a more fire engine red. That would be the only one I would release, I think. There's not a need for any other than that. They are meant to be mixed colors, so they really want you to get better at mixing to explore all of the coloring you can get from them as single pigments. So I won't be doing others unless I do what I would call like a more pure scarlet style red. The current red tends to move towards magenta as you thin it down and put it over surfaces, and people have commented on wanting something that keeps a little bit more of a fire engine red feel. So
yeah,
we have one. We just need to figure out a release schedule for it and do some final testing. But yeah.
And Sigavac says, I'm getting ready to use special sauce now that I'm comfortable with 1 steps. What is the recommended starter ratio for the regular line?
I like 2 to 1, believe it or not. Not much. You don't need a whole lot. Try it like 2 to 1, move to 3 to 1. If your color's still a little bit opaque, make sure you do a test area first, and you'll be set. That's what's been working well for me. I've been doing, like, with the normal line, I'll go to, like, 3 to 1 as I was working on it. Like, oh, maybe I just tell people 3 to 1. But 3 to 1 tends to make the colors a little not punchy enough. So don't be afraid to use less of the medium and just go straight 2 to 1 as your starting point, and then thin it out more if it's giving you a little bit too much blast of color. Other side.
Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be, let me send you guys this link here. We're going to be sending out a video this week, probably tomorrow.
Is that when the first one goes?
Yes.
Nice.
My original idea was today, but a lot kind of happened. So We are, though, if you are interested, here is a page you can go to learn all about One Step. And that'll be coming out in May. Isn't that right, Jason? We're saying mid to late May.
Mid to late May.
So keep an eye on that page right there. All of the info is going to that one. Oh, I've been using too much special sauce to paint then, says Chaos Angel.
Yep.
Hey, that's okay. Got to play with
You
it.
can still get really good stuff out of it. Remember, there's no hard, fast rules. That's just the starting point. That's where I think most of your colors are going to respond the best as you start to mix them in. It doesn't mean that a more diluted version of a color doesn't also do great stuff for filtering and glazing. Just remember that if you're looking for that one-step coverage that you get out of the pre-mixed ones, that you're going to want to have some opacity of your color left.
Mm.
And you'll find out that it will change by color. You know, when you're using darker colors, you may thin it more just so that it has less potential to give you a little more staining and, you know, feels like it's doing what you want it to do. Again, you're going to look at the model and make that decision on your own. I'm just telling you what I think a good starting point is 2-to-1. Let that be your comfort zone and then adjust from there like you would with any mixing. You know, I like when I'm mixing colors on the palette, I typically start at 50-50 for most color mixes.
Yeah.
And then adjust by sight, you know, if I see the color moving in a direction I like or don't like. And this is no different when you're mixing mediums, even varnishes and stuff. It's just always good to have a base point, you know, because if it's like noosh and it really needs to be like 10-to-1.
Yeah.
And you start 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, then you're going to fight it the whole time. You're right. You're going to go through a lot of degrees of unhappiness if you don't have that starting point. So just understanding how the medium responds is going to be a good place to, as a jump off point, so to speak.
It's awesome. I've been really liking, and somebody was asking me this weekend, I have not put my little workup yet of my nights into Discord. I took pictures, but you really couldn't see what I was describing with my glaze through the airbrush with dark blue black. So I'll take a better picture when I'll take a better picture. That's my TED Talk. Somebody was asking about painting of the wings, and here you go. I'm gonna share. This was some from Sanguinius, or not Sanguinius. Legally. Dante. No. This is Sanguinius. That you did that color feathers, the white feathers.
Yeah. The underpainting for white.
Here
kind
you go.
The chromatic white.
That link right there. We'll send it to you.
Pearlescent white, if you will.
Yeah. Coyote says, happy to be back after not being able to tune in for 2 weeks. Welcome back. Do you have any advice for stripping models? I have some with bad coat of primer here. No matter what, no paint will adhere to it. Ooh. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's rare. I don't strip a lot of models. Simple green, LA's totally awesome, stuff like that in a bucket and set the models in there as long as they're plastic. If they're resin, you got to be careful because you can melt them away with too much soap or detergent in the water. So be careful with that. As long as they're plastic, like hard plastic GW models and such, then just soapy water and set them in there and let them hang out for a while. Then get yourself like a fingernail brush so that you can scrub the paint off without ruining details is usually the way I would do it. But I have to admit, I have not stripped a model in decades.
And what about your experience with any suggestions on adding water with secret sauce and paint, Jason? How does water act with One Step, essentially?
Well, it'll thin it for both viscosity and opacity. I don't know when using the medium that I ever want to do that, though, unless I just want the paint to be more fluid and run into recesses more. Maybe you're trying to make a panel lining fluid. Then water could work really well to decrease that opacity a little bit more and also get it to just flow into crevices. It already has a very, what would I call it, fluid nature to one step,
Yeah.
and that it will, flow down into recesses really nice. So water isn't a big component of painting with one step, except when you're painting with the one step out of the bottle. That's what I thin it with, is water.
That's what you thin it with,
Yeah.
essentially?
Yep. I don't ever really use the medium to thin one step paints. I use the medium to turn other paints into one step.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that the medium itself is still a fairly low viscosity, so it's not like the glaze wash medium that protects your glaze from getting too watery. That's why we use the glaze wash medium when glazing, because it keeps the paint at a higher viscosity so that it will not flow all over and into the recesses, right? You got to remember what you're trying to do. And one step wants to act more like a wash, but the medium already takes care of that. You don't have to add water. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of just ready to go, and it really is a magic bullet. It works like a champ.
Dude, I did, this is what I did, chat, with that dark blue black was, it was 5 parts water to 1 part dark blue black through the airbrush, and it was awesome. It like gave everything like a blue tint. It was very cool.
Yeah, through the airbrush, it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that you don't want it to flow into recesses because airbrush paint just won't work that way.
Yeah.
And so by changing the overall expectation of the paint, then all bets are off. You can thin it with water however you like.
I'm almost thinking, I don't know if I'm willing to commit to this, but I liked how everything looked from underneath by doing that. So I don't know if I just want to blanket do that to all my shadows now, because it was also very fun to do.
Yeah, it's a neat technique, right?
Yeah.
It's very akin to what we were doing off the brush to Willie when we were doing the cast shadows.
Yeah.
Right? Is this just going in with the Payne's Gray real watered down and layering it over the top of areas where we know we want that cast shadow to live, and that makes that really easy to maintain and makes all your shadows really work together across the model. So it can be the right blend when you add a shadow that is consistent on all the surfaces.
Mm-hmm. Red fade, no. Blue tint, mister. I see what you're trying to do there. I can't wait. Zilfer says, I can't wait for the one-step dark green notable hole in that main range. Dark green.
I know how to surprise you.
Oh, I see. That Chai Cat, take it easy. Have a good one. Kenneth Red, I'm painting. You're painting Adam Warlock right now with one step. Nice.
Nice.
Cool. For all of you who are able to get an Adepticon, great. May's right around the corner, but you'll still have to wait. But it's coming very soon.
So just real simple layering / glazing, like I show you in the Just Do This video, is all I'm doing here.
Which?
A little bit of water on the brush.
Great segue, Jason. Great segue, mister.
And then just up the amount of opacity layer by layer to get the most out of the color that you're painting with.
What color is Jason planning? I'm putting over this underpainting.
I'm not underpainting.
This is the paint, Zilfer.
That's why I'm blending it. Normally, if I were underpainting, blending would have an adverse effect on your underpainting because the blends don't do any good when you put a filter over the top.
How many guys to a unit in this guy?
Well, because I'm doing it for First Blood, there's only this one.
Okay, it's just one. Got it.
But there's 3 to a unit when you build them for Conquest, Last Argument of Kings, the big game.
Big Gotti. Thank you for that sub. We appreciate it.
I'm only doing this for First Blood, so I'm only going to be painting one of these because you can only really fit one cav unit there. Like, I think this model's like probably close to 100 and some odd points on its own. So you either get one cavalry model, 4 infantry models, or for the price of 2 or 3 cav models, a gargantuan monster is the way the points
work
in the game.
Got it.
So it makes it to where it's actually pretty even and it's easy to understand. If you want a large base model like this guy that's a cavalry, or I forget what they call it, brute is what they call it.
I'm brute.
This is brute size base, that you get 1 brute to every 4-ish models. And the math doesn't work exactly that way, but as you're building a list, that's kind of how you would relate it.
Yeah.
Like, I could either take this guy or I could take 4 or 5 infantry guys.
Yeah.
So this guy needs to pay his points back against 5 infantry guys. This is the way my brain for competitive gameplay goes, is I won't spend the points on this guy unless I think it can kill 5 infantry dudes.
A little Billy, it's my wedding anniversary today, which unfortunately means I have to hop off early and go hang out with the wife or something lame. Hey, little Billy, congratulations to you and your wife. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, these models are absolutely awesome. Little Billy, happy anniversary. Thank you for all you do for Chris. It keeps him honest.
He is not using one step at this moment. No,
I've been using one step on all of our Conquest models. So on this, where I will be looking to paint to a more display quality, I will be showing you how to use one step as filters and later on in the process in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
When I use it, as opposed to like base coats and such, so that you can see the power of it as just another paint in your arsenal for more complicated techniques.
Beef Berkey said, for the one step, I did a quick test and found that after I shake them up, there was a lot of bubbles when I dropped it onto the palette. Still appears to work great when applying it, but is that normal?
Every paint will have the ability to like sud up, right, when you shake it, depending on the chemical component. But it should dry very flat and not let the bubbles be a problem. I will tell you that if you shake it to the point to where you have a lot of bubbles, let it settle first. Our bottle should take care of that if you use the normal cap, right? That's one of the benefits of our normal cap, is no matter how hard you shake, the air release and the seal should make it to where our regular cap keeps it from being that way too bad on the palette. If you're finding that it didn't, let it rest a little bit after you shake it, if it has too many bubbles, before you put it out on the palette. Not taking those bubbles to the model is always a good thing, because if a bubble gets down in a detail and the bubble pops, then you'll look like you missed an area with paint. It looks like there would, like you forgot to paint that area on the chainmail, because it'll just be, primer again.
Yeah.
Because the bubble gets in there, pops, and then there's no paint. So just be careful. That happens with any paint, right? If you shake regular pro acryl too much, you can wind up getting bubbles. You don't have to shake too much. Once you get the color constituted again, you're done. Although with one step, they need to be shaken every time. Whereas normal pro acryl, you can shake it, put it in your rack for a couple days, come back and use it right out of the bottle. One step will settle. The chemical component in one step is very different, and you will find that a lot of the matting agent and stuff settles to the bottle, or to the bottom of the bottle, and that it looks like it's separated in the bottle. But don't worry about that. That's just the way it works. Shake it up.
Shake it up.
You're fine.
Shake it up, Jason. Shake it up, right? You'll shake it up.
All right, now...
Bald man, you're not bald. Hello, bald denial Chris. Hello, amazing Jason. Nice. Was curious if I used glaze and wash medium with a different paint line, if it would still work. Bald man, what?
I mean, I'm tempted to say no, because why in the world would you do such a thing?
Why?
Yeah, of course it will. I mean, I say of course it will. If that company just uses a standard water-based suspension for their acrylic paints, it should work fine. Always check with each manufacturer to make sure, do they have their own custom thinner they force you to use. There are some, crazy model paints out there that say they're, water-based acrylics, but they also require you to use a special medium with them. And in that case, you might have to be a little careful.
The fact that you said that out loud, though, bald man, because I know you personally, I've shook your hand. I've shaketh you in person. In
I've
real,
shaken you in
I've
person.
shooketh your hand.
You know you're not supposed to do that.
In IRL. And we would love to consider that you make the full switch. But also, we understand. We just want you to paint. But how dare you? I'm allowed to give you that kind of, what's it called? Hard time. Because you're not bald. You can shake people, just not babies. That is factually correct, yes.
I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I know you can't shake babies. I'm saying I don't think you can shake regular people either.
No, you probably shouldn't do that. You should not do that.
Probably ought to not shake regular people either. I love how babies aren't regular people.
Armfrenstein says, does it work with Tamiya? They're weird paints.
Tamiya,
Isn't
I
that
don't know that they
lacquer-based?
make a true water-based acrylic. Don't they all have to be used with lacquer? Maybe. Oh, they do make an acrylic.
I'm not sure.
They use their own thinner, but you can try it with it and see how it works.
Lumberjack, you can shake babies. It's just frowned upon. Don't shake babies, Lumberjack. Don't do that.
Past a point, I feel like they're responsible for themselves.
The babies?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh. What is that age?
That varies state to state. I'm not going to go on record here on the stream.
That varies.
That varies state by state. I'm not going to go on the record. Consult with your local law enforcement.
Kenzilla says, hey, Monument Hobbies.
Hey, Kenzilla.
Just wanted to let you know that my new wave of expert acrylics came in today, and I'm loving the Fallow Turquoise Light.
It's so good.
The server flavor is pitch perfect. We don't eat that. The flavor is pitch perfect. No. And it's not sour. It's not edible. Do not do that. But it is a very fun looking turquoise.
I'm digging that. That's bismuth yellow mixed in with the color we've been doing. Popping close.
It's very meaty, right?
I'm liking that.
Yeah.
It gives us a very fleshy color that still has enough over-the-top coloration to it to kind of fit where I was wanting to go. So we'll keep playing with that.
Monument Hobbies. Owning the base set and metallic set, which expansion set do you think offers the most color flexibility after the base set and metallic set?
Expansion 1.
Okay.
Expansion 1 is the set that I'm always like, if you've got the base set, you've experienced the colors, you're ready to take the next step. Expansion set 1, because of the colors represented in the set more than anything. All of our expansion sets are fantastic.
Yeah.
Expansion set 4 is fantastic. 3 is fantastic. All have great colors in them. Expansion set 1 broadens out the skin tones in the line.
Okay.
And helps a lot with shades, tints, things of that. So I think that's the best point of reference to go next. You get the pale pink, black brown, shadow flesh are all in there. Bright neutral gray, dark neutral gray are in there, because you only get the warm grays in the base set, so that's huge. Just so many good colors. Yellow ochre, black green.
Humferstein says, a genuine question. Any tips for not spattering my shirt and face every time I peel off the seal on a fresh bottle of the paint? Just invested in most of the line, all but the metallics, and already had to toss one of the shirts straight into the sink. You're talking about the little seal after opening it.
You got to okay, so this is just like any fluid that could be under pressure.
Yeah.
Remember, our bottles seal.
Fully sealed, too.
And in order to take that seal off, like, you know, I always liken it to like cracking a Coke can that you're not sure if it's been shaken or not. Crack the top a little bit, but not like you're having to take the top off. Puncture the seal with maybe the end of a brush. I usually take my knife.
Yeah, the little white seal.
Right? and just poke a hole in it to alleviate the pressure real quick.
Mo and Art, thank you for that raid, by the way.
Mohan, what's going on?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jason.
Studio Mohan. Did you get to go to Ludiverse?
Mohan. Welcome in, Raiders.
France, I believe.
Nice.
But yeah, take your knife, poke a little hole in the seal before you try to pull it off. That'll let the pressure go out, but won't open. And don't poke a big enough hole that it like geysers out, obviously. But yeah,
welcome in, Raiders.
Remember that you're dealing with a pressurized fluid.
Yep.
So you already know how to do it. You're doing it with other things. You just don't consider paint to do that because other paints don't come sealed. Our paints are the only ones that come sealed. So you have to treat it like a sealed liquid.
This is the thumb palette scheme that gets Jason questions at dinner.
Yes.
Would you fall off a bike?
Yeah, this one's a little rough. Doing a little mixing of color as we layer up here with dark plum as a base into bright hot or dark hot pink, and then into bismuth yellow mixed in there. And the bismuth yellow is really just a spot of color. It's hard to tell with the way I mix on the palette, but this is probably something where the bismuth yellow is more of a, it's maybe 3 to 1. Dark plum to dark hot pink to bismuth. Not near as much bismuth in this coloring. But you can see how it's given us a little bit of an orangey look to the flesh versus this side that's just the dark hot pink and the dark plum. Right? Which keeps it in that kind of muted magenta realm. And here we're starting to give it a little bit more of a fleshy tone. My vision for this is into kind of an orange leaning for the skin. Okay. But in order to get the magenta to look good, I really want to go through these blends to get there, right? I don't want to just I wasn't wanting something as punchy as like Jen's Lisa Frank blends, right? We'll call them, right? Because Jen really likes that Lisa Frank over the top exploration of color in that, very primary palette style. That's not what I'm looking for here. I want something that's a little bit more muted. But you can imagine that it could be like peacock bright in another world.
Peacock bright.
And that's why you'll find me glazing a lot of this color on in a more wet fashion. The more you glaze, the more desaturated your color will apply to the model, as opposed to when you put it on without the dilution, then you'll get way more vibrancy out of that color, way more saturation.
And then let's...
Sorry, I have the sniffles today.
Let's see. Chris, you missed a question from Next Radio. Yeah, that doesn't help me if I can't see the pinned one. So let me go up here. Here we go. I'm using the artist colors starting with sap green. I need a workup for keeping the green dark without going to light. Using it for cloaks and tabards. What should I use as a highlight color?
Okay, I'm not following. You want to keep the green dark without going to light, but you want a highlight color.
Yeah, I need...
Meaning that you don't want to over brighten the green with your highlight?
Yeah, I need a workup for...
The easiest way to do it is to take the sap green and add, sap green on its own is less of a yellow, right?
Oh, correct.
It's a more blue leaning green. And so if you were to take this, you could add something like primary yellow to it and get it to brighten up, but it's going to push it into greens. You could take the permanent green light and mix it in with it, right? That works really well and gives you a very subtle motion to this rather than just putting the permanent green light over the top and making it look like your cloak is this color. Mix the two. Remember that anytime you're taking two colors, whether they're expert acrylics or liquid acrylics, do what I'm doing here, which is taking the dark plum, mixing it 50-50 with the dark hot pink. You don't see any real dark hot pink on here. Here's real dark hot pink. right? That color's not on my model because the only way I'm using it is to mix it 50-50 with the dark plum to get this kind of range. And then the bismuth yellow you're not seeing on here because I'm mixing it into that mix of dark hot pink and dark plum. Gives me this kind of fleshy brown. And so that's where this whole thing is going. So I'm using colors that you're never seeing in their raw form because mixing them in. So sap green with permanent green light 50-50 gives you a really nice highlight for sap green. Doesn't force you into using permanent green light by itself at all. You don't have to go to this color by itself. You can use it simply as a mixer and get a highlight here that stays muted, especially for things like cloth that aren't shiny, where you don't need much of a highlight. You don't need a bright edge highlight or anything. You can do that. And then you could use the permanent green light on its own for just little bitty dots of color to brighten it up in certain areas that don't push towards a white, right? Because, I mean, you always have the ability to just add white to a color.
Yeah.
And then you can control how much it gets, but it's going to desaturate the color. And starting with sap green and going to white is going to be a little hard because now in between these, you start getting a real faded green. It doesn't keep it green. So using this is much better.
Interesting.
And like I said, you can use the yellows in place of the sap green. If you, oh, I nearly just painted dark hot pink on there. Whoops! That would have been a. That's not the color I expected.
Yeah, your thumb looks great. I like that. There you go. Lonix Rex Studios. Hopefully that helps. Cairo, time to get back to session. Have a great night. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate that. And by appreciating that, great segue. Jason.
What?
Speaking of segues.
Mall cop.
Welcome in, everybody. It's Monday. We're bringing Mondays back. We got a lot going on today, chat. There's a lot of moving parts. This is a fun-looking model, though.
I'm digging it.
I like that they're aliens.
I'm digging it.
Something like that rings true to me.
What,
they're aliens and in the forest.
Yeah, it's weird though. Like I haven't gotten into the narrative enough to understand why they don't have like such powerful weapons to just be able to take the world over dynamically. Because if they can, travel through space, then no other race on this planet would be able to do anything to them, right? It's the age-old, like, we don't want aliens to come find us because they would not be here for friendly purposes, And if they can travel across space, then our technology isn't even worth anything against them.
Thomas says, is it just me or are the primer seals less sealing? ? Like the paints are always very strongly glued and fitting neatly, but every often the primers are not fully sealed.
The primers use that flip cap, and you're seeing why we don't put the flip cap on normal bottles.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't form, it has the opportunity to form less of a positive seal. But it's the right top for the primers. So yeah, it's a caveat that we had to pull off on those. For dumping into airbrushes, the normal cap is not ideal at volume. We didn't want to have people have to switch it, so we fought with that for a while, where I was like, I know this is going to be a problem with the seal because those caps don't like to, they don't thread all the way down and don't have the same positive plastic ring on the inside to be able to seal with the foam pressure seal.
What is a great workup for bone looking to add some orange/green nids?
Yeah, I was going to say, starting with something like, burnt orange, burnt sienna is great. And then working up from like burnt sienna to burnt orange, if you do that way. Or, like you said, greens, realize you can do something along the lines of camo green base and then burnt orange over the top of camo green. And then after that, move into something like, the burnt orange mixed with bone works really well. And then just keep adding bone until you get to the amount of that kind of ivory tone that you want on it. That works like a champ. I love starting out that way with skulls and skelebones and you name it.
I also have a great short on that too that we did a minute ago. Using drab brown for skull.
Yeah, drab brown works good.
I love me some drab brown.
All that's interchangeable with the oranges that you might want to add.
Frigid, my average painting space temperature is 80 degrees. Silly two-story house in Arizona. Is there anything you all recommend to keep the painting lasting a bit longer? I've employed but out less more often technique, but still frustrating.
I'm not understanding what's
it's too dry and the paint is drying too fast. Is there anything you all recommend to keep the paint lasting a bit longer in a hot, dry room?
I mean, we're in the hottest, driest here.
Maybe you putting out less?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of those where people don't like my answer, but I say put out less paint, because if you're struggling, you're not using your paint fast enough. And if you're not using your paint fast enough, either paint faster or put out less paint. And I don't ever say paint faster, right? I'm always like, put out less paint. That's always the best answer. Put less paint on the palette and allow that paint to get used, quicker by, focusing only on putting the colors you're actually using at the time on the palette. Don't put out every color. You'll see people in humid climates will lay their palette out with like 6 or 8 colors. And unless you are fast at your mixing and doing like CMYK, don't ever do that when you're in a hot, dry climate, because you will lose more paint than it's worth. So you notice I only put out the colors I'm working with at any given time. And once I switch to another color, I write off in my head anything else that's on the palette. So then you get used to very quickly just using putting out the amount of color you plan to use for that color, and then put more out later.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things for people is they feel like efficiency, both for value in the paint, because you don't want to waste paint, you don't want to have to buy paint every week, but also in terms of, like, I just want to make sure I don't have to do this motion of putting paint on my palette all the time. But they forget that, you're losing all that paint if you're not careful. And so it's better to, go back and put paint on the palette 3 times than to lose one big drop, hoping that you only have to put it out once.
Yeah. Damage Inc. Never a stupid question. This is probably a very stupid question, but like I said, no stupid questions. But I wanted to try to paint a model with expert acrylics.
Sure.
How do you effectively base with sap green or Prussian blue when they're ultra transparent?
A couple of things. You can build up the color. Of course, if you're putting it over black, it's never going to get to its full vibrancy without wasting a bunch of your time. So there's that. You can base in with like a zenithal highlight, something that puts a white or a bright gray underneath the colors that gives them a better starting point and also defines your lighting. That's the way I recommend, right? Is that you do a pre-highlight on the model that sets up your values. And then, when you're painting over the bright spots, you get a brighter version of the color, and over the darker spots, you get a darker version of the color. And the translucency of those paints on the expert line really makes them great for that, because then you're only left with what the value sketch on the model told the color they wanted it to be, which is, as long as you did your zenithal or your pre-highlight correctly, is perfect. You'll be spot on with where you need your lighting, and then it turns into more of a paint by numbers coloring book for the rest of the finish work, which is really nice. So
yeah,
that kills a bunch of birds in one stone. I'm really liking this.
This is cool. Are you going to do... Oh, no, I'm trying to jump the gun. You know me. I'm very excited to see what you do for the fur. It almost looks like half caribou, half bison, half elk.
It's a weird animal for sure.
I just noticed it does have a very bison-y style face.
Well, that's a very Studio Ghibli anime it's a mask.
Oh,
it's a physical mask on there, so we don't know what's going on. It's a mask that I will do in a totally different color. That's why I'm not painting any of that with skin tone, because it's a physical mask.
Right. Got it.
Remember, these are all like constructs that they do out of like flesh weaving and stuff. So all of the Weaver quartz. The Weaver quartz, unlike the Spires, I believe, do all of their flesh craft with like natural organics and not corpses, whereas the Spires use the corpses of the dead basically to make drones, right? So that's a totally different thing going, totally different vibe from the Spires, but they're all the same alien race. So they're all functionally the same. They just choose to use different raw materials in making their stuff. And so we get what we would believe are like, you know, the animals in the area, but they then turn them into what they need them to be like a war elk or war moose or whatever this thing is, right?
Double T, 6 months. Thank you so much. Is the noosh dry yet? This is a noosh dry ASMR stream, right? Hey, Double T, it's never dry. And by never dry, I keep adding more and more. Hey, fun fact about noosh. Use more than you think. Otherwise, your model might get I found that out the hard way.
What do you mean?
I was doing a test on a finished model that I wanted to start adding some layers.
Okay.
Then I tried a 2-to-1 noosh, and that wasn't
not enough.
It wasn't enough.
It
was really cool.
There's never a point where because 2-to-1 noosh is just color,
and that's it's
not going to do anything.
Yeah, I wanted to see like what it would do, and it was, you're right, it was just straight color.
I think noosh on the side of the bottle says 5 or 6 to 1.
Yeah,
as a starting point, right?
But then I'm like, okay, it started the model over kind of, and then I went over it, and it actually got, obviously the recesses were super dark because I tried transparent black with noosh. Like a heavy, thick wash.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But then I'm like, okay, it really got into the deep crevices. And then I painted over that. So I just essentially made an additional step for myself.
Yeah.
But
it became like a shade layer rather than what you needed it to be.
Right. Dr. Rhino, that's a big move. Who made that Who made that moose a painter? I did, sir. He's my cousin.
Wait, what?
Dr. Rhino, I hear you're a avid Spaceballs fan.
Oh my God, don't get these two started.
May the Schwartz be with you. The kids love this one. So Dr. Ryan says, so 5 to 6, 1 for noosh, same ratio for special sauce? Question mark?
No, special sauce is 2 to 1.
2 to 1
to start. Yep. Remember, with mediums, like we were talking about before, it's where you like it and how it functions. But me giving you a starting point is neither a rule or a guess. It is both functionally going to work well for you at 2 to 1, but it's something where you're going to have to say, oh, that's either too opaque or that's not giving me enough color, and adjust it as necessary. You know, it's like asking me how much matte medium to add to your model at the end to get a particular level of matteness. I'm like, well, that's all subjective, right? Because what you see in the lights you're painting in is totally different than mine. And what I like might be completely different than what you like. I like a lot of vibrancy out of my special sauce. You may really want it to be less vibrant and act more as a diluted overall wash. So it gives you the ability. But I like 2 to 1 as a starting point with special sauce. I feel like that gets you a really, really good feeling for what the color's going to do. Test an area, and then see if it gives you enough opacity. Are you getting enough of the color you're painting with? If not, then add a little bit more paint. And if it's not acting enough like One Step wants to, and not showing enough of the undercoat colors, then add a little bit more special sauce. But only do it like, one drop at a time, kind of.
As to John, would you recommend One Step over Zenithal or Slap Chop pre-highlighting? Yes.
100%.
Both of them works great.
What it comes alive as is that type of paint. It's our envisioning of what the contrast/speed paint world should be, given the idea of performing as well as a professional art color like Prochrome.
Yeah.
right? So what if those paints were really good? What if they worked? What if they mixed together really well? What if they acted more like colors in your normal range of colors? And that's what One Step does. And the Special Sauce Medium just makes the Pro Acrylic colors work backwards into that, which is super nice. All right, now I'm really digging this. I don't know that it got me the direction I was going to. Zoom in close, super close.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a neat coloration with you know, the dark plum in the recesses.
Yeah.
The dark hot pink kind of living in that mid area, and then this weird kind of fleshy, peachy orange. I'm thinking Nova Orange might be a good way for this.
Here's a question for you too, Jason.
How would you go to get a nice purple undercoat shadows for a warm green, kind of like salamander green rather than dark angel one, if that helps, more yellow? Better using One Step over something like ivory for a value sketch, or would the One Step green over purple, since it's transparent, would end up more grayish than anything? Yeah, you don't want to do the green over purple. You want to have that value sketch. But what you can do, you've stolen all my models.
Me?
Yeah, you took them to take photos. Do you know where those are? The green Star Wars guy?
Oh, I put
he's
it
here.
back
He's
up
here.
there,
Never
yeah.
mind. They just got moved. So what I did with my Star Wars Legion models is I primed these guys with dark purple primer and then taupe, right? And the taupe is kind of like ivory, right? It's like a dark ivory. And so putting the dark ivory over the top, and then I mixed the dark green with the yellow, the warm yellow One Step, and then put it over the top of the taupe and got a really, really good coloring, right? So that works really well. You need to, like, if you want to keep warmth in your color, don't use white as your zenithal. Use something like pale yellow, taupe, those, you know, pale pink. If you're using reds, those colors do wonders, right? You know, we go back and say, well, this isn't One Step, but this is the pale yellow, the bright pale yellow underneath bold pyro red. And the only reason you get that punch out of red is because of the pale yellow underneath it. The pyro red would never give you that red on its own. It's only being able to take the warmth of the yellow underneath it for the value. And normally you would have to get to this color by layering. But if you're airbrushing over, and One Step would do the same thing. One Step keeps its warmth by, in this case, not going over white, right? By going over taupe instead, which is, you know, a little bit more of a warm color. And so that helps a lot with how you can control your coloring. Remember, you can always do zenithal with any color you want. So long as you do a dark base coat and a bright top color, it can be dark purple with pale yellow over the top. You've seen me do that a lot. It can be dark blue. It can be Payne's gray. It can be dark plum. And then you can do pale yellow, taupe, ivory, warm brown, any of those warmer bright colors over the top of it and get great results. You can also reverse that, and you can do cooler colors. You can do white blue, you can do faded green, bright pale green. You know, you can do the colors that are cooler tones, and then when you put colors like blue and or green over the top, then you'll drag a little bit of the warmth out of them and switch over entirely how it reads. So your initial value sketch in your zenithal has a huge impact on these types of colors, like One Step especially, but just in general, because it allows you the ability to say, hey, what is the overall temperature that I'm looking to have my color stay at? Yellows would like warm undercoats, right? So, you know, doing oranges underneath yellows works really well. That's why the pink underneath yellow works, because pink and yellow make red. And so you are already starting on the road to getting a really good warm color. So.
And then let's see.
That's not how you spell taupe, Dr. Rhino.
Taupe. Top yawning in the studio. I'm sorry. I don't know what this is from. They say taupe is very soothing. Oh, that's a deep quote.
I think this might be where we can go here. It's either that or I go in towards like dark warm flesh. I think that's too much though.
He's asking, is Noosh meant to dry satin or almost glossy? Used Noosh for the first time over the weekend on a train piece that was meant to look like it was in a damp environment, so the shine works.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I mixed it wrong.
No, Noosh will be as matte, or because it's very matte on its own, but the more you use, and if you thin it with water, then you wind up diluting that matte a little bit, and it can move towards a little bit of a satin. It wouldn't be gloss, but it can have a little bit of a sheen to it. You know, like Chris, when he gloms it on, it's pretty shiny. In a satin sort of way. But like when I do it on stuff like this, you know, where I control it, and this was the black brown, and you can see a little bit of the shine. You know, that should be about as much as you ever really get on it. Yep. And then you just do a matte varnish coat over the top of it when you're ready. You can do it right after, or you can paint over the top of it and then do the matte at the end. It's up to you. I typically would go ahead and then hit it with matte varnish after I've done the noosh. It's the same as that you would get if you were doing an overall oil filter. The overall oil filter will be glossy too. So when you are stretching a paint like that, you're basically taking away the effect of the matte finish. You know, so with black brown on this, but that's still this would be matte paint for most companies is the weird thing, right? Because that's not shiny enough to be satin. That's still what most companies would refer to as matte. But for our matte, yeah, this is satin compared to our matte finish when you're used to it.
Eek says, do the metallic airbrush the same as regular paints? Any thinning necessary?
Well, yeah, you need to thin metallics because they have an extra physical component, solid to them that other paints don't have. You know, paints have pigment as a solid and then liquids.
What's your preference?
The metallic has pigment and then it has mica flake. So it has double the solids, think about it. Maybe not double in actual per volume weight, but it has more. So I typically will dilute it down with some glaze wash medium. I like using the glaze wash with it because it will thin the opacity a little bit. But it also spreads out the particulate enough to get it to spray right. You know, you might have to use some water depending on what nozzle you're using and your comfort with spraying because you might see it speckle a little much if it's too thick. That's what'll happen is it'll start to feel like it's paint. You can see the dots as you're painting and it would maybe feel like you're putting a texture on the model. So just be careful with that.
So Lapton Live says dark purple, taupe zenithal, one step green plus one step yellow.
Dark purple, taupe, one step green and yellow mixed together. Yep, you got it. And
Dark
probably
green.
less yellow in your case because you're probably not looking for as yellow as the skin I did, right? If you're doing like salamander green, you're going to want it to be more to green than this. This was a lot of yellow, right?
It's a very good goblin-y green.
So, you know, this would be more yellow than green. You probably want more green than yellow. But test it and see. See what gets you the color you're really after.
Double T says goblin green one step win, Jason.
Maybe set 2.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's in set 2. Hang on.
Is it?
I think it's set 3. Yeah, it's set 3. We have a good green in set 2 that I've shown you. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it.
I thought didn't you have one this last week? I'm trying to remember.
It's that one.
Oh, here, bring it up, bring it down. Oh,
it's that one. That's over white. So we have that green coming in set 2. So it's
that's pretty goblin-y.
It's pretty good.
Green.
It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Okay, somebody was asking how many one-step colors are planned. If that's an applicable question.
It is, and I'm going to give you a question. I'm going to give you an answer that is variable because a lot of it depends on how much, you know, the world gets behind it. If people are really clamoring for more and loving the paint, then, you know, I might make up to 40 colors.
Okay.
If, you know, it's people are finding that the medium is really getting them everything they want, they don't really need a whole lot of colors, then it might be more like just 24 or 30.
Okay.
But I think it'll probably be somewhere in that 24 to 30 range minimum, no matter what. Yeah, I think that orange is the right
half the time, like
here.
You're making your own mixes, so those are colors that you could totally make too, that you prefer, Jason.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
There is that.
We do what we want. And by we, I mean Jason. And by Jason, I mean us. And by us, I mean everybody. And by everybody.
What he's really saying is he doesn't know what he means.
Oh, I know what I want. Do you know what you want? That's the real question. I will always take more paint, says Panic Bomb. Cool.
Oh, we'll give you more.
We'll give you more
you'll
paint.
Take more, all right.
The skin workup is fantastic, says Double T. Can you remind us what you're doing here, Jason?
This was dark plum.
Okay.
And then dark plum mix 50-50 with dark hot pink.
Uh-huh.
and then a little bit of bismuth yellow worked into that. And then
That was bismuth yellow. Right.
yeah, and just a little bit of bismuth yellow to get it a little bit of warmth and move it into like the spectrum of weird faded orange kind of color. And then now I'm going straight to Nova Orange. And just kind of trying not to be real wet with the glaze. Oranges in all of their forms are very translucent straight out of the bottle. So I'm probably over wetting this some and going to have to do another coat, but I'm just kind of sketching it on how I want it. I'm starting to be a little bit loose with my brush strokes so that it can set me up for the illusion of hair, because this is a very smooth plastic model. It doesn't give you the illusion of having any hair, and I need to bring that sense of light, tight fur on here. So you'll see me not blending as much and using the fact that the paint is thin as the blending component.
Yeah.
And then me doing more loose, sketchy brush strokes here to set up the first layer that will feel like hair. And so I'll be doing a lot of these horizontal brush strokes, angled. But I'm liking the color.
Yeah. I'm painting Iron Hand, says Forager, and I have started with purple. What would be a good progression from there? I was thinking Payne's Gray.
Into black? You started with dark purple?
Yeah, which purple do you start with, Forager?
Probably not purple because it's pretty bright.
Our regular purple also, amazing color. All of our purples are. Royal purple. Okay. Started with royal purple.
Payne's Gray would be a shadow for that, so you don't want to do it over the top, acting like you're going to get some form of highlight, right? If you want a shadow for royal purple, Payne's Gray works great. If you want royal purple to be your shadow, then stay away from Payne's Gray, because Payne's Gray will steal the show from it and become the shadow color.
Got it.
If you want to know what to go over royal purple with as the next step, that really depends on where you're going, because your Iron Hands are black armor, right?
Yep.
So, now I'm wondering if maybe you could do the Payne's Gray. I just think it fights too much with the darkness. I think you wind up with your royal purple feels like a lava glow. And I don't know that that's what you want. I like that a lot. I think dark purple into, of course, Payne's Gray, and then white blue, and that whole workup like we did on Antonio LT Gray works really good. As soon as you put royal purple in there, it becomes something a little bit different, because the royal purple is bright.
Yeah.
And if you put Payne's Gray over the top, the Payne's Gray is darker. And if you keep the royal purple in the shadows, like I said, it becomes an OSL effect almost, right? Which isn't bad. It can wind up looking really, really cool. You just have to want that so that you don't feel like you've, messed up as you progress. I'm trying to think, because, we did dark purple underneath him, right? And so Antonio LT Gray is built up with his armor as dark purple is the underlayment that then moves up into the Payne's Grays and the whites and then the black wash over the top, and that works pretty well. So I like that. If this was royal purple underneath, it would look like he was on a purple planet, and because this area down here would have a very, very purple tone to it, and it would make it seem like there's a purple glow somewhere in the environment. Not bad, but you got to expect it. And you have to have a story in your head built around it. It's not a story you have to tell anybody else, but you have to understand, like, why is that there? You're fighting values at that point. Anytime you're painting black armor, because black, of course, is the darkest color, then what do you do the shadows for it as? And still get some neat chromatic interference in that color. And that's why I like dark purple the best for black. You see me use royal purple in place of dark purple on all sorts of other colors, but for black, it's tougher. Again, very thin here. You notice I'm testing on my thumb palette, getting it to where the color's way knocked down, so that as I come in here, number one, my lines are very thin, but I'm also not getting a ton of opacity out as I glaze.
And also, if you guys double T, you were asking about that link. If you look at that link I put there, that'll take you to a page with the video on it, and plus all the stuff that he used in that video for Black Armor.
Is that working now?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Oh, it's working, Jason. Oh,
I'm liking this. It's some weird, because this is going to give us like a weird, like, is that like some weird human skin thing going on? Because I could see painting human flesh this way in a very stylized manner. But on this moose, it's going to feel very weird, which is, I love the uncanny valley of these models anyway, because it's like they're mimicking human form.
The technical term is moosin.
Is what?
Moosin.
That's not true.
Meissen?
It's Mises.
Mice of men.
Mises.
Moosely men.
Well,
my mooses are in the road.
what?
Said the shepherd guy.
Your mooses
The
are in
moose
the It's
shepherd.
not a shepherd for mooses, by the way.
Oh, it is now.
No,
It's actually, you're right. It's technically called a moose shepherd. I forgot that.
a moose herd
A moose
as
herd?
opposed to a shepherd.
A
Because
moose
a
herd?
shepherd takes care of sheep, which is why it's called a shepherd.
And a moose herd
Because
takes
he's
care
a sheep herd.
A moo. Oh no!
Don't try to explain the English language to Chris.
Hey,
he breaks
hey
down.
now. I am a wordsmith, mister. I am a Shakespearean
Here it comes. Prepare yourself.
architect.
X
if
up
you
in
will.
chat for the BS level.
I am a word crafter. I make the reality of the language that I use and
My
speak.
mooses bring all the boys to the yard. Damn right. It's better than yours.
Don't sing that. No free pub. Don't take us down. No copyrights. Blah blah blah. That was me canceling it.
Wad's giving you 3 BS X's.
Whoa!
3 X's for BS.
Lumberjack just went to my P.O. box and got my expert acrylics. Nice. Wake Titan, apologies. I'm late to the party. Can you share the paint progression on this moose?
Did he say it just like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming so. I don't know.
The only reason I'm answering this question is because it was said in that
Yes.
like that. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I started with a base of dark plum. Boom, dark plum.
Blam.
So it was just brush applied base of dark plum on all of the skin. It's
Yep.
still there visible in the shadows, right?
Yep.
And then I've been layering a mix of dark plum 50-50 with dark hot pink,
Yep.
right? And that I feathered in to the highlights and just kind of blended in a zoom in super close.
Yeah.
You can see I'm now starting to put some texture on for what will be hair. But you can see you don't have to do super tight blends, but it is smooth enough, right, to where you can take this to whatever level of painting you want. You know, when we get down to the part that is just the base blends without the new texture on there, you can see I'm keeping it fairly smooth, right? And then going a little bit rougher as I add this. But the next step after the 50-50 mix here, okay, back out, right? The 50-50 mix of the dark plum and dark hot pink. Then I added bismuth yellow into that. And I mean, you could play around with this being 1:1:1. I don't know if it was. Because at the point where I'm adding a third color into a pool of paint, who knows? It's just those 3 colors figured out. The yellow starts to make this into a fleshy orange, which is really nice. But again, not a color that we really have in the arsenal. So it was just easier to take my pile of paint and put some bismuth yellow into this to get, because these 2 colors make red. So this with it just makes dark red. So that's kind of where I was going. But as you stop along the way, you get this kind of orangey flesh. So that worked really well. And then after that, I'm just taking Nova Orange on its own and glazing it over the top.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Ooh, this is a good question. Let's see here. Ghostbev says, how do you manage the paint mixes once working on the glass palette as a newbie? Would it be easier to mix into cups to avoid paint drying out?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
So the answer is one that people hate. And the answer is that your mixes don't matter as much as you think they do. We get beholden to the fact that you will add these colors together to get a mix, and then you'll be worried that your next adding of those colors together is a little bit off. And it will be, and it should be. The variation of color in the world is such that it's never going to matter at the scale that we're painting. So I don't care that my mix, go over and bring the palette up, Big. This is where I've been putting all these colors together. I got, well, right now I have Nova Orange here, right? But I had dark hot pink here. I had the dark plum up here. I was pulling dark hot pink into dark plum and making it here. And then I was pulling the bismuth yellow from over here and putting it in here. And now I'm just doing the Nova Orange by itself. So this is where I've been staging this. And the way it is that I will mix two colors together and get a third color here. And then I'll spread it out and I'll paint with it. And maybe I get 2 or 3 times into it before it dries. And then now it's dried in the color that it is. And so I grab the 2 colors again and I mix them off to one side until they become the color of the rest of the dried paint. And then I know I'm right. And then I go and I use it and now it's dried. And then I keep doing it. So I have the visual representation right here of what the color looks like all the time where I'm mixing. And I just make sure that as I pull my mix together, I just do like mix in half of it and then compare it to the other half. Because you can imagine if you have, you've seen guys that have like a paint swatch and then they mix a bunch of paint and they'll pull it down on half of the swatch. And if it looks like the same color, it's close enough. That's good. It doesn't matter. Because in reality, it might be a tone brighter or a tone darker. That's fine. Paint with it. Don't worry about it being exactly the same. Because remember, paint looks different when it dries versus when it's wet. So you're always fighting that imbalance anyway. Now, if you know you're going to be using a lot of paint, like say this was not just one guy I'm painting, this is an entire army of guys that I want this color on, then yes, being able to mix those colors, and I take it a step further and I mix them into like a bottle, right? As opposed to just a cup. So now I have this color that will last me through an entire army no matter how fast or slow I'm going. So you can plan anywhere in between that. You can do it just spot by spot on the palette. You can mix it in a cup that'll last you for a lot longer during your painting session, or put it in a bottle so you can come back to it days later if you know you're going to paint a whole army with it. All of that is good. It's just the amount of planning that you need. But the thing that I would tell you is don't ever really let it cripple you by thinking that if this mix isn't identical that my army is going to look different. It won't. Unless you just forget to add a color to the mix, you're always going to be close enough. Because remember, we're working at such a scale that a little bit of variation actually makes it look cooler. If your colors are so identical, it can make the model look really flat. And then that kind of loses the entire scope of the effort we're trying to put into it. So I'm a big fan of letting the mix be different and being okay with that. Basically, I don't like to stress out about painting. I think painting as a not only as a hobby, but just as a release and a creative release is something that I don't want to have to worry about, exactness.
Right. Yep.
So you'll see me when I'm in my best mood painting, I'm probably painting very loose, meaning that my brushstrokes are very sketchy. I'm really attacking the model in a different way by just throwing paint at it. Yeah. That's when I have the most fun and when it feels the most alive to me. It doesn't mean that there aren't times where I'm like, okay, we got to get down to business, serious business here, like Chris says, and we got to blend this nice. Yeah. Because I'm really looking to have this look nice. But I don't want to, I want to try to find as many ways to have that blend happen, as late in the game and for as little bit of time as possible so that I'm not spending the whole model stressed about, does this brushstroke meet the need of the next one, right? And when you talk to very, very good artists, a lot of them will be like, the more free you can be with your painting, the better your painting will be. And so what does that mean to you? Does it mean that you want to do exactly what I'm saying? You want to paint with looser brushstrokes and then tighten them up at the end? Fine. If you want to paint with smooth blends from start to finish because that's what brings you less stress because you're going to be good the whole way through, fine. Do that, right? It's really up to you. But when I do things like, hey, don't sweat the technique when it comes to your paint mixes, that's why I say that. Don't let it stress you out. It doesn't matter. Within reason, a color looks like a color looks like a color. That's why so many paints that you may buy in the hobby space that say they're a different color, but when you put them on the model, they look identical. because that little bit of hue variance in the bottle when the paint is wet doesn't make a bit of difference when you paint it on a 1/35th scale or a 35 millimeter war model. The color isn't different enough at that point to make it. So unless you have just the ultimate discerning eye, you're generally going to be okay.
Tech Badger says, that's true. I've been working on a CAD drawing for schools for a few days, and it got to a point where I desperately needed a break. Spent a few hours painting the other day, and it was such a great stress reliever.
Awesome. Yeah, and don't let me tell you what free feels like. I'm just telling you what it feels like for me. I'm no happier than when I'm painting, quick and sketchy. Because I feel like that's when it really just, the model comes alive. I get to, create ideas, and every brush stroke feels like it's having an impact. And I'm not worried about, the stress or whatever. This is a hard one to paint here. The stress of, perfection with every brush stroke. I'll find perfection later, right? Chris hates it, but fix it in post.
Fix it in post! Oh,
when you're painting, that's the way it works.
That's true,
right?
Because
if you can get into a mindset where the paint you're applying right now is always a test until it isn't, I'm always like, hey, let's try this out, and I always try it out live on the model. I mean, you watch me here live. I don't have the ability to go back if it doesn't work. I'm like, hey, is Nova Orange the right color? I just put it on all the work we just did. If it's not the right color, I know I'll go back and fix it. We'll do something else. Just put it on a small spot and be able to recognize quickly before you paint the whole half of the model whether or not you like it. Like if I get to this point, I'm like, I don't know. You turn back here and you're like, no, I kind of like that better. Then you probably did too far, right? But I'm really happy with where it's going, so I keep applying it. So just keep thinking in those terms, do what you need to do to feel loose and like the paint makes a difference every time you touch the brush to the model. Even if it's a difference you don't like, put it in your head as maybe next time that would be really rad. Or I have this other army where that would be really cool.
John, tell us about the new magic juice / sauce. The special sauce?
Sauce?
Yeah, tell us about that. John, welcome in, by the way. And we will tell you about that. Great segue.
We have an amazing product called Special Sauce that is part of the One Step family of products. It is the medium for One Step. And it will turn all of your Pro Acryl paints into One Step colors so that they will act like speed paints. So all the colors you already own can now do triple, quadruple duty. They're already great as airbrush paints, as glazing, filters, whatever you want. Now you can put the One Step medium with them and turn them into, something that you can use as a very quick overall color filter to get, models done fast without having to play and spend a lot of time, because the medium really does work with like 2 to 1 as a ratio, which is great.
That Special Sauce.
It's very good.
Available when, Jason?
Mid to late May. We'll have dates forthcoming.
Forthcoming? Eeks, we don't do that. We don't eat the paint. It's not a great base for a spicy marinara.
That's a spicy meatball.
Kalshi bet for May 17th. Kalshi? What does that mean? I don't know what that means for Cornflake Justice. Oh, somebody in chat bet that? May 17th?
Bet for May 17th? Is that the over-under?
Over-under. Do a lot of people go with the mega set, says Harry.
Tons.
I've got 11 or so paints. I'm not sure to improve skill if it's better to stick with smaller palette or jump to the larger set. I mean, our mega set also is just an amazing value. Don, thank you so much for that.
Tons and tons of people jump into our line with the mega set because of what Chris just said. It's the best value in the entire line. It's 22% off retail. That's better than any sale we've ever done, and that's just the price every day.
Yep.
So we've had people buy the mega set who are just at a point that they're at the refill spot with so many colors that they're like, nah, it just made sense to buy this because the deal was too good.
It's an amazing when you start doing the math. It's amazing, you guys. So
Yeah, I'm kind of retarded. I'm kind of retarded for keeping it at that price, but it's
yeah, you don't want to sleep on the mega set. It's fantastic. This is the set he's talking about, by the way, right here.
69 colors. Even if you already own a handful of colors, it's a great one to look at. But remember that you can put together any set, if you want to call it, bundle greater than 8 colors on our website, and you get 10% off all the time.
Yep.
And you can match that with discounts from your favorite streamer. Those will stack, so you can get up to, I think it winds up being like 13, 14% off. So still a really good deal if you bundle it up like that. So you can put together, you're never a point where you can't build the colors you want.
Rattle can. I'm jealous that the mega set, it came out after I had all the colors. Yes.
Yeah.
The mega set is definitely if you're a miniature painter and you're looking to switch to our lines, if you're super familiar and you've tried a couple of our paints, I wouldn't sleep on it. Especially if you like in the back of your mind, I'll probably use Pro Acryl. It's the way to go. And that's the link right there. Sigvac says, I started with the mega set and it was all downhill from there. Oh, yeah. Mr. Blue says, I buy as needed from my LGS, so I'm not just a degenerate taking up space there. Hey,
heck yeah,
Mr. Blue, we love that.
Support local. And a lot of times you get a way better deal long term at your LGS than you will ever on the website anyway, because they're doing all the great work for giving you a place to hang out, air conditioning your butt in the summer, heating it in the winter.
Yep. Don says, question, I just got the fluorescent set at Adepticon. Are the fluorescents normally so thin?
Yes. Well, when you say thin, they're actually not thin viscosity, but yes, they're supposed to be see-through. That's the deal with them. You paint them over a white base.
And they're magical through the airbrush.
Anytime you're going to use the fluorescents, you're typically painting the area you're going to put them over with a white or a transparent white first.
Yeah, the mega set is very much the way to go. Fluorescent green for green flow. Yes. Zilfer, I agree with you. Fluorescent yellow is one of the I sprayed the heck out of my Custode proxies with that. Came out great.
So I'm going back on the same side, playing around before I move to the other side to make sure I'm happy with the way this works. With the fluorescent, the Nova Orange in a more opaque application. I say more opaque, and then I apply it see-through.
John says, I see. That makes sense. They were the only PA paints I ever had like that, so I was curious.
Yeah, that's just the nature of those. They are meant to be very low transparency so that they show the brightness of the white through. You use them for things like OSL. You would put the white down where you need it. And then come back over the top of them. So now I'm starting to highlight areas with the more opaque and start to force in some of our volume back into here and bring value back into the model, since before it's really just been about color. And now I'll start brightening with the orange in a more opaque fashion just across the top area of these muscles. But still doing it in short, abrupt horizontal strokes because I want the feeling of hair. So pop in real close. You'll start to notice the texture is starting to pop more. See? We're starting to get the feel of what will be hair. And it'll really become apparent when we do the brightest colors, because every step you add a brighter color, all of this contrast becomes less visible, but it sets it up so that our mid-tone and shadows look like there's hair there too. If you don't start in your mid-tones by doing your textures, you wait till you're just putting the brightest color on, then you wind up in a position where unfortunately it looks like it just has a coat of like bright down feather on the top of very dark body, and that doesn't usually look right. So start your textures in like the mid-tones. Well, the last time we did this was on our polar bear bro, right? where we did like dark blue, royal purple, blue, dark gray blue, things like that to do hair. And we started the hair texture on him in the first coat that we put over the top of the royal purple. So it was like the dark gray blues. And that gives you a depth that isn't on the model, right? Because this is all smooth plastic. And so if you want to give it the feel that it has hair, you got to start early so you get a depth to the hair that makes it feel like if you push it, it has some give, as opposed to just laying on top of the surface. So we're doing the same thing with the horse, although not as long of a brush stroke at the end, so it doesn't look as plush as polar bear hair.
Yeah, I do dig that. Thanks, Harry says, thanks to the answer on the mega set. Sound good like I should sounds like I should just commit. I mean, if you've tried it out.
Hey, do what's comfortable for you. Don't buy too many paints. You know, because you brought up the idea of, in order to get better, does a limited palette help more, or should you just go in with a lot of colors? I'm a firm believer that all painters are lazy. When you watch videos that are talking about people painting CMYK, when we do the challenges with limited palettes, one of the things you'll always hear me say is that I am never telling you that it is better for you to paint with a limited palette. What it is very good to understand how to have a limited resource and be able to use it correctly on the model. So if you only have a few greens in the hue that you want to paint this model, it doesn't ever mean that you have to go buy more. You can always shift your greens that you have to be a little more yellow by adding yellow to them, things like that. Painting in CMYK is something that very rarely do people do all the time. It's a hassle. You spend all your time mixing color. So, when you really get down to it, you have fun painting means that you probably are going to want to have more color. Now, I have all of our colors here. I probably use 40 to 50 of them all the time. I'm just going to throw a number out. And then and then all the rest of them fall into spot use. Yeah. Not because they're bad colors, but just because when you're painting, you'll run into your color and you won't use all the greens on a model. You pick up one family of greens, and then I might mix into that family, like my camo greens, and I'll mix them with the other colors in my palette for that model. And so on any model, I probably am only ever looking at 40 to 50 colors that I'm pulling from. Not that I use them all on the model, but there's probably only 40 or 50 that would even be relevant because you've already picked a color scheme. So you got to remember, having more choices means you have more color schemes at your disposal to think of quickly, which just speeds up the process. If you're just looking at 10 paints all the time, no matter how good you are with CMYK, you can get stunted in where you want your color palette to go, because you have to think beyond what you can see into what you can do. Whereas having more colors can show you what's possible without you ever having to use them. And I know that sounds weird to say that, but that's the way it always turns out. Your paint selection will always be greater than the amount of paints you use, past a point. Right? Because you're going to find what you love, what are your favorite colors, what do you really like using all the time, and then you'll start really working to learn your techniques in your comfort zone, and you'll remember that, oh, I forgot I have this color, Yeah.
All painters are lazy.
Yeah, all painters are lazy. We're all lazy artists. I just happen to run a business too, and that makes me not allowed to be lazy all the time. But all artists are lazy. We all want to be able to do our craft, and especially when you start doing it and start having to do it, in between going to work, or God forbid you start doing it for money, then you got to find a way to be efficient with your art, and art is not meant to be efficient. It's just creativity. The way you become a creative is not to say, okay, how fast can I write this book? Until it becomes your livelihood, and you realize that if you write 3 books a year, you make more money. And so now you're trying to figure out, like Stephen King, how can I write 50 million novels and still get paid very well for them, even though most of them suck? So, Sorry, was that my outside voice? Sorry. Too much witness.
Why do you think Slap Chop was so popular? Don, great question.
Well, first off, I'm gonna be angry old man here. Slap chop is nothing new. Underpainting has been around since the dawn of painting. And glazes and filters over the top of underpainted colors. We've been doing it for decades, and I got taught by people that have been doing it for decades. The fact that somebody came up with a cliche name for it or a trendy name for it is what made it take off, right? Influencer economy made it take off. People are already doing it. It was presented in a way that made it appeal to new painters with the advent of things like contrast paints. So the reason it took off, as opposed to being a thing like, oil paints, or I'm trying to think of other things that come around every now and then, but like Verdaccio and things like that come around every now and then as trends in painting. But what made it stick was that now there was a type of paint, a physical thing you could go buy that was already built to be an overall filter. Whereas up until that time, that didn't really exist. You had to make filters. Washes existed, but they didn't have enough color impact on your model to be considered overall filters. And so once contrast paints came out, then the world was dying for a way to make them work well. And the only way they really work well is when you put them over something that already has contrast on them. Even though in their name it says contrast, they don't really provide a whole lot of contrast. They need to have an underlayment of value to really come alive. And so that just revived that need, right? That hole in the street needed to be filled. And it was great for that. That's why we made one-step paints, is that we have noticed all along there was a need for that paint that made people feel like, or that technique that makes people feel like they have gotten a much better outcome than their knowledge would otherwise allow. Because that's what's going to get new people painting and feeling good about painting, right? Painting is a very daunting task. X up in chat if you've ever been at the table going, I don't know if I can do this. Because even if you're not a new painter, you might be up against a wall of, holy hell, in order to make my models look better, I have to learn something I'm no good at. And sometimes it feels daunting, right? Yeah, everybody. No matter what level you're painting at, there's a time where you've looked and said, this may not be for me. You may be a great painter, but you may be running up against non-metallic metal and thinking, if I don't learn non-metallic metal, and you just don't get it, and you just feel like maybe painting's not for me. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Back up. Let's get back to having you feel good about the work you do and not worry about the work you can't do, right? Because feeling bad about the work you can't do is irrelevant, right? I can't fly an airplane. I don't feel bad about my life because I'm not the best pilot in the world, right? Now, if I set out to fly airplanes, I might tell you different if I just can't pass that test. Yeah. If I just keep banging my head against the wall and eventually you'll stop. I don't believe creative endeavors work like that because it's not binary. It's not like pass-fail. You may never learn how to do metallic paints in a way that makes them look good. You may never learn how to do non-metallic paints in a way that makes them look good. Who cares? Paint metal in however way it makes you feel good and stop worrying about it. So yeah, I'm a fan of those things. That's why Slap Chop by name worked, because it was the presentation of an old style of painting to a new crowd that was prime for it, because it allowed this new paint to really have really good value, no pun intended, right? Because now you could say, oh, I can go buy these contrast paints, right? I can go buy Monument Hobbies One Step when it comes out, and I can just make my models look like I'm a hero on my first day painting. All I have to get good at is having that zenithal prime work, right? Or that slap chop with the dry brush,
right?
Work well. And so if you spend time getting that dry brush value sketch done and you become the pro of that, your models are going to look fantastic, because the paint, that speed paint, contrast paint, one step style paint does all the rest of the work.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's great.
The John Hogan says, how can you make one-step paints less viscous? By using the one-step medium, water, or something else? ?
Wow, they're pretty low viscosity right out of the bottle. So yes, water, right? Because water is none of the mediums. Well, the one-step medium is the same viscosity as the paints, but if you want to make them lower viscosity, like runnier, then water is the trick. Like if you want them to like be able to do panel lining and stuff like that, they work great for that. And you can just add water to them and they'll flow even better than they already do. But they already flow like a champ. That's why I don't do a lot of water with them, because then they can become hard to control. So just be careful if you're doing large areas on models that have a lot of definition between areas, that you aren't crossing the streams, right? Putting the one step onto an area and then having it bleed out into the boots or the vice versa.
Commando Ken says, so we can turn our one steps into cool new washes. Nice.
Yeah. 100%. Thin them down. They become washes like nobody's business.
Oh, yeah.
They're airbrush filters. They're the best filtering paint we've ever made, next to the transparents. And I would even say, I'm going to go out on a limb, that they're better than the transparents.
I mean,
I think you'll find that just by watching people like Kenny, Next Level Painting, as he plays with them, he's finding out the same thing.
They're
They
amazing.
they don't have the intensity necessarily that the transparents do. So the transparents can give you more saturation because they're not meant to move like a wash.
Yeah.
So they're going to be more saturated in the area you paint them. The one step you can layer up to get that saturation, though, like 2 layers of one step undiluted will get you to near transparent levels. So that's the only difference between them. But you can take the transparent, mix it with the one step medium, and get even bigger saturation out of one step. So
Yeah,
there's still a world where they work well together, but I think one step has taken over as my favorite filter base
oh my
for
gosh,
everything I do.
And through the airbrush, I know I keep
Oh my
saying
God.
that I am loving airbrushing with them.
Yeah, they're too good through the airbrush.
Yeah, it is like how a
Totally
way
different thing because they don't act like speed paints to the airbrush. Right?
Yeah,
They just become tremendous filters. So as you're learning
Yep.
to quote unquote glaze with airbrush, they just turn that into something that's
literally
super easy.
what dawned on me was
Man, I am loving this.
was the filtering and glazing with them through the airbrush.
I don't know that it's what I was looking for, but this is looking really good. Nova Orange, if you have not tried it, is one of the greatest flesh highlights when you're doing something in the darker flesh range. And you wouldn't think, you'd look at it, you'd be like, never. But it is such a good flesh tone. Such a good flesh tone. Right? It's the same thing that I use to highlight the flesh on this guy, too. So if you have anything in that kind of demon space of skin or weird, magentas, reds, purples, eventually it gets to Nova Orange. These models look completely different, but that highlight color is exactly the same.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's cool. Take it easy, Wad.
Wad, have a great one. Good to see you. Vince Venturella be like, let's paint flesh with this new color, and gets out Larry the Ogre with a new coat of primer. Yeah, poor Larry. Larry's starting to lose detail.
He's got a lot of paint on him.
He's got a lot of paint. I don't know. I haven't asked Vince if he ever stripped him. I don't think he does. I think he literally just reprimers him.
Does he? I think he might.
I think it might have changed, though.
It has some good details. Maybe he just paints the ogres.
I
don't
think
know.
he might have
Actually,
more
I haven't
ogres.
gone through
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
enough to be like, oh, he does.
I don't know.
I think he just reprimed
Let
it.
Larry die. No, let him retire. You don't gotta dye him. You don't gotta kill him off. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I think he refuses to strip Larry. Hey, when you paint thin and layer correctly, you can literally paint a model probably a dozen times before it starts becoming a real issue. And that might be stretching it. I might be lying to you, but I think I could probably paint a model somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 times.
Okay.
Maybe that's a lot. Maybe
Repriming it?
6 to 8 times. Huh?
Repriming it.
Yeah, because remember, I don't really do a heavy prime.
Right.
You only have to do a feather coat to knock the colors down.
Gotcha.
You don't have to get rid of them.
Huh.
What did we do recently where we just repainted
I do it with our texture trainers.
a model, right? Yeah, you don't have to do a full black prime coat. You just have to spray it to where it darkens those colors down, because then those colors become a chromatic base for whatever you do over the top of them.
Yeah.
They stop mattering.
Right.
Because you reduce the value of them so dark that it doesn't matter. You can paint your shadows and highlights over them, and they don't even exist, or they can exist where you want them to, right? So there's a lot of fun you can have with that where you don't have to reprime, but yeah. Give Larry a Viking funeral. Oh, I would love a little miniature Viking. Feel like put him in like a little folded paper boat and put him out in your bathtub and then shoot, like cigarette arrows at him or something.
Cigarette arrows.
I'm trying to think of how you wouldn't set your bathroom on fire, so I was trying to be. Larry always gets a full black prime. No one Vince, he probably does, because that's half the shtick. What do you think, chat? Good color combo?
That's cool. I like it.
It really is getting into uncanny valley territory for being like naked flesh color.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to add some more orange into it. But we also have a bright color that'll go over the top of this for the fur. And I'm thinking something like warm flesh or something maybe a little bit more yellow. And then using some pure orange, or maybe red orange would be better. Using some red orange to glaze back between the midtones and the shadows, so we get a nice orange appeal to it. So we could use the one-step orange over the top of it. Actually, that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably highlight up, since we've been talking about this. I'll probably highlight up to pale yellow on the fur to get the fur outlined right, and then thin one-step orange down or transparent orange down really far. And then glaze the orange back over the top. I think that'll look really good.
Yeah.
And we might even glaze then some of the dark hot pink back into the shadows. I want to play around with it because I want a lot of that magenta and orange fighting for first place on the skin. So it should be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Crabosaurus, we did these. This is how we did it. It was dark plum as a base, then 50-50 dark plum and dark hot pink, and then a little bit of the bismuth yellow added in. That's this side where this side is right now.
Yep.
And then we highlighted all that with just pure Nova Orange, not mixed in with anything. Just the Nova Orange gives you this highlight on everything. Yeah. Right? It doesn't look like it, right? You lose a lot of the orange because I'm doing it as a glazed highlight. So it turns into a very denatured value of itself. But Nova Orange is fantastic for that, right? So great way to get a highlight that doesn't overwhelm, but gives us a good foundation for then doing yellow. I mean, I could even get away with pure bismuth yellow for the hair. Yeah. And then do orange over the top of it all and get really, really high. That might be the way to do it. Just do something really crazy like that. That's how this goes.
That's how it goes. Cool.
A nice orange peel sounds good right now. Orange, wait, what? Is that the candy things? You're not really going to eat the peel of an orange, are you? Like the rind? I know people that eat the rind of a lime.
I don't know if that's
or
good.
Lemons.
I don't know if that's actually good for you. I've heard that it actually can mess you up if
really?
you eat the rind. Well, because none of our food is like it's filled with pesticides and like the skins.
Also true. I didn't think about that. You probably don't want to eat the fruit at all, but yeah.
Yeah, the outside of that stuff is probably not the best.
You were painting the same Space Marine helmet like 6 times and it started looking like that. Then your paints me.
Yeah.
That's a good test though, because maybe the magic number is like a half a dozen times. I have never tried to paint a model that many times, but I would think with the way that I layer, I could probably do somewhere between 6 and 12. I know that's a broad range, but and my number keeps getting lower as we keep going.
Oh, you said
I could paint a model at least twice.
Oh, you said Commando Ken said you said orange appeal earlier, and I heard orange peel. I was making a joke.
Oh, I get it. Okay, now I got you.
We got there. We landed that plane.
I was going to say, gummy orange slices is what they're called, not orange peel. Because that's what immediately when they said he was going to eat an orange peel, I was like, is it those candy things?
Yeah. Hammerhawk, tomorrow I'm releasing a video.
We have some of the, if you go on the website right now, on the learning tab on the website, there's a one-step page, and the one-step page has some links to past streams where we've been using them. And then tomorrow, Chris is putting the first of many of our produced here in the studio versions where we go through, I worked on this guy.
How to use, right? And then here is this right here, by the way.
I worked on this guy. So,
yes. Dr. Rhino, if you're still here, man.
Hey, is Dr. Rhino here?
He was earlier.
Hey, Dr. Rhino, you in chat?
Yeah, Dr. Rhino, we used your model a lot in this last one, so.
So Dr. Rhino will be happy to know that our entire initial showing you how to use one-steps is using this amazing model from Psychopomp. I love this guy. And so we did everything from mixing the metallics with the one-step medium to blending the colors together to glazing the colors over one another. But this is all one-step paint.
Also, Crabosaurus, that was warm yellow out of the bottle.
Yeah, this is one coat of our warm yellow one-step paint over black and white. Just a black and white zenithal on this with one coat of warm yellow, and we do it live on the video that'll be coming out tomorrow. We start showing you, and I don't remember. I think that the video on the skin is a separate one, right? And then the sash and stuff. So we've got it's broken out into about 4 or 5 short videos that show you how we did this whole thing. And this was us. What did it take us, an hour to do it while we were filming?
Just about. Not even. No, this just about an hour.
About an hour while we were filming.
Yeah.
It took me an hour to do this model while filming a produced video. Yes. Not live on stream, just doing it. So. How did the metallics work with the medium? Great. Zoom in close.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Sorry, my focus is all messed up today. Yeah.
That's them.
Which is also in that video, too.
Right? That's no highlights. That's literally just one coat of metallic with the medium. On everything from the bracelet to the bangles and the nails on his back and the whole nine is just one. I only did one coat of paint on these. I went back and I showed you how to mix use the one step and mix it with other colors to then go back and highlight the skin. I did that real quick on the front of the skin. I don't know if I did much on the back. But I showed you that because that's one of the things that's really important about One Step is how well you can mix it with normal opaque colors so that you don't ever wind up in a corner where you're like, well, I used this One Step paint and it created this color over white that I don't know how to highlight.
Yep.
You can always take the One Step paint, mix white into it, and start highlighting the color that you got. So it makes things super, super simple. But yeah, we used it, everything. We mixed One Step with all the Procreate colors to create the skull. We dry brushed highlights and stuff. So we showed you how you can mix it together and use it for all sorts of stuff. So,
all right.
Even the turquoise on the little dot on his head, which will piss people off because turquoise isn't until round 2, but whatever.
No, you used blue.
Did I use blue?
You used blue, but you thinned it down.
Oh, I thinned it down so it looks almost turquoise over the white. Yep, on the gem on the head. All right, cool. So did I not use any colors that'll piss people off here?
No.
Okay, good.
We made sure of it.
When do you make the call that it's time to retire a brush and replace it with a new one? For me, it's really when it just frustrates me, won't hold a point, when I can't get the detail line that I need. I show you how with a brush you we'll take this number 6, right? So this is a big number 6 synthetic, right? And so whenever I'm painting, I show you the chase the tip thing. So when you're painting, you will flatten the brush out. Zoom in close.
Yeah.
You'll paint and the brush will flatten out, but if you turn it 90 degrees, you have this amazing point, right? Because every time you're brushing, you're turning your brush into a chisel shape, depending on how hard you press. So you make this chisel, it's flat on one side, sharp on the other. So you rotate it 90 degrees, and then you've got your sharp tip, and then you paint however much you paint with your sharp tip, and then after a time it flattens out, and then you rotate it 90 degrees, and you're back to your sharp tip. So this is called chasing the point. So you're constantly rotating your brush around. So when I get to a point where my brush won't give me this when it's flat on one side, let me grab one that's like that. I probably have a million of them over here. This one, that one's like glued together. Oh, that's funny. That one I used on super glue. That was a mistake. How about this one? No, oh, maybe. It may be hard to find one that isn't gonna play right, but so like if I were to, have a brush like this, that as I paint with it flattens out when I rotate it. It also doesn't give me I can't find that point anywhere. You can see how much this one needs to be cleaned.
Yeah,
there's enough paint in the ferrule that it won't, when I bend it over, look at it, won't even bend down to the ferrule unless I push really freaking hard. And it has to splay really hard. So it's got a lot of paint here in the ferrule. If I was to clean it, it would probably act better. But this brush would be where I would turn it into a terrain brush, because I know that as I paint with it and it starts to flatten out, I rotate it and I don't get a good point anymore. That's when I retire brushes. That goes true for sables and synthetics. So this guy, still fantastic, and this is a pretty old brush, because that still gives me a needle sharp tip on a number 6. This is a number 6 Pro Synthetic. So I can sit there and get good paint out of this guy for a long time, and then as it flattens out, then rotate it again. This is a good way to control your synthetics and make sure your synthetics last forever, or as close to forever as a synthetic can, and not, hook the bill, is to just do this and then keep rotating it around to the sharp side. And then when it won't give you a sharp side, that's when you know it's time to retire. Sables are the same way. So, how would you even clean it? You want me to clean this brush before we go? You got time?
Yes.
What did I just do with it? Did I throw it away? Oh, I did. Ah!
Oh, what was that?
That was the sound of goop on a glass palette.
Oh, yikes. I'm going to zoom out so I can capture this. Here you go. What are you doing, Jason?
So I've got this ridiculously atrocious brush. It's hammered with paint. You can just see, the demarcation line of where paint is in this brush, like I said, when I just go to bend the brush, look at how it stays completely straight from the ferrule to the top of that paint mark, right? Look at that. I'm pressing hard enough to give it a wind-blown haircut, but it's not bending except at the halfway point where all that dark paint is, okay?
Yeah.
So that's how much paint's on it. Now, if I push hard enough, it'll bend, right? But it's caked in there. So we want to get some brush goop going. I probably want a lot of brush goop on this, right? Put the brush goop in there, get it in the middle of my palm.
Can you center up just a little? There it is.
In the middle of my palm. Not too much water, just enough to make sure the brush is damp, right? And then I just want to start giving it some motion in the lotion. This one's caked, so I'm going to be fairly aggressive with it here. And we haven't painted with this brush in forever, but you're noticing that it's still darkening the soap. And I'm even getting chunks I don't know if you can see those chunks.
Yeah, I can see them.
Yeah, there's chunks coming out of it. So there's big chunks now. The more we lather this, I say lather. It doesn't have any lathering agent in our soap. There's no useless products in our soap. So it won't lather, but I still call it lathering. The more we lather it up, the looser the brush gets and the more chunks come out, to the point where I probably need to take this and wipe it off. Oh, look at that.
Yummy.
All right. Then I'm going to rinse that real quick. Then I'm going to come over to the paper towel, set it on the paper towel. I'm going to fold the paper towel over and I'm going to press at the area of the ferrule and then start doing this. So I'm loosening up that paint and look at it, all of that, right? And then I can kind of do this when it's really bad. I take my fingernail, my thumbnail, and I just kind of start bending it over. But look how already, look at that. Notice how I couldn't do that before? Now it's starting to bend. Right? All that paint is starting to loosen up. So I'm going to just take my thumbnail on a bad brush like this. A normal brush, I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to take my thumbnail, and on this brush, I'm going to kick that line. No, I'm just pressing and then scooting my fingernail up and then rotating the brush around 10 or 15 degrees, right? And look at that. You can already see how all the darkness is starting to retreat away from the ferrule, and now it's all up here in the brush, right? So then I'll rinse that out. And this brush is, God, I don't know how long it's been since I've used this brush. Years? I don't know. Look at that. Look at that big old chunk of crap that came out of there. Then we'll go back and do it again. We'll grab some more of the brush goop. And when I say a lot, I'm talking about like this. This literal tub will last you forever, right? We're not trying to get rich off of brush goop unless everybody in the world buys one, which they should, because this will also do this for your makeup brushes, guys. Get it for your wife. Your significant other will love you.
And it's all 100% vegan as well.
Now it is, yeah.
Yep. This is Brush 2.0. If
Brush
you
Goop
have
2.0
the tin,
is completely vegan.
Yeah, if it's the tin, that is...
It has goat's milk in it. The
Yep.
old one is goat's milk based. This one is not. But the I would say that at worst case, this one cleans identically to the old one.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
I think the consistency is a little different.
It's smoother, and I feel like I think better. And better's not the way to say it. It's because it's smoother. I feel like I use less to get more effect.
Yeah.
Right. Look at this. Holy cow. So that's a lot. And then, holy, just chunks.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you guys are getting the idea.
Yeah, I mean, this is a brush that just a second ago would have been one that we said was relegated to not doing any work other than putting basing material down. And now literally I can start to see all the hairs separate,
Yep.
which it wouldn't have done that a minute ago. Now there's still a lot of grime in there, so I still got work to do. But this brush already is showing me a lot better response because now it's bending easily and I'm able to draw all of that paint. It's still sucking more paint up out of the ferrule, right? But now I can start to just do this as a rinse and wipe. And oh God, yeah, it's literally like paint just flying out of the ferrule every time I rinse it. Good God, it's getting more different colors out of it too. That's green.
Yeah, it's definitely...
That's not even a color that came out the first time. So it's very crazy that we're getting like colors that are buried down even deeper than the superficial color at the first. This is a really neat way to show how good our brush soap is.
Yeah.
Because this brush was basically dead. So let's see if it'll do it now. You know, a minute ago, this brush would not have been one that we could even paint with, right? But now if I go through and, oh, it's splitting like crazy. Hang on. Need to rinse it more. In the end, just kind of, you can look at that. All this gunk we're still getting out of here. This must have been a brush that I like painted with and then left. Right? Let me do soap one more time. Were you trying to be someplace right after work?
No,
I just have work you need to do on the website?
Yeah,
it'll wait.
Yeah,
This is round 3 with the soap. And now it's a personal journey for me to get this brush back to working. And that's actually looking pretty good. Not if we can find a clean place on this to do it. Much less gunk, but still color. The soap does not have any true color. So if you're getting color out of the brush, you still have cleaning to do.
What's the difference between, is the new formula brush goop much different in the effectiveness than 1.0?
Nope. They, like I said, the worst case is that it cleans about the same. But now look at that. That's insane. Can still see a little bit of darkness in through here. Still got a little bit of work I can do. But now I can paint with this brush, right?
Better off, Ted. I think that hopefully that answers your question there.
So now I can get that to chisel out, and look at that. Back to a knife's edge on the other side, and this brush was dead. So again, you know, when you're saying like when do you retire a brush, clean it first. And if it just won't give you that knife's edge after chasing the tip, then that's the time you start thinking about retiring it. But I think this brush, I probably could clean it 1 or 2 more times and get a lot of life back out of it, because I can pull it to a pretty good point just as is. The tip's a little frazzled, like I've been stippling with it a lot, but it's a good brush.
Nice. Looks good to me.
There you go. A little bit of work. Jen's amazing brush goop. Done. And that was easy. Just a dampness and some goop. Miracle worker.
That link that I just posted here, that will actually take you to it as well. She also did a video on it, so if you need to reference it back, you can go hit that link, and it'll actually give it to you as well.
Canuck, that was a synthetic. That wasn't even a sable. So that just showed you what you could get back out of a synthetic by cleaning it. Now, yeah, that was one of the old tabletop minion set, and these are all pro synthetics. Pro synthetic number 4 too, so it's a big point, and we got that back to life.
Yeah,
you remember the darkness went halfway up. We got rid of all that darkness.
Yep.
You know, this is a brush we haven't sold in 2.5 years. So it's been sitting around for a long time.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. We got some work done on some exploration work on color for our moose. See how I did that?
Moosey.
Oh my god! No, you didn't do the S long enough. Did some really cool color exploration for the color on the moose. I'm really liking that. I don't know what we'll be doing tomorrow. We might go back to Willie, Whiplash Willie. We'll see. I want to finish Whiplash Willie today. I just didn't want to paint him.
No, it's a cool model.
I built this guy on Saturday, and I really needed to get some color exploration done on it. It was in my head all weekend. So
no, I mean, you have a good follow-up one, right? Like it's good to have a project off to the side to get back into.
I have a million.
You're a little bit of a different case.
But everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you're new around here, please hit the follow button or the subscribe button on whatever channel you're watching on. Remember, Monday through Friday, we stream to Twitch, Kick, and YouTube simultaneously, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona from Monument HQ.
That's right.
We'd love to see you back. So make sure to follow us and get alerts and all that good stuff. But we'll be back tomorrow for more amazing painting.
That's right.
So stick around. Check out all the links that Chris put in chat. We'd love to see you over on the Discord. Definitely monumenthobbies.com and monumenthobbies.eu. Go support the brand. Buy some paint. Explore your own color schemes with some Pro Acryl and some Pro Series brushes. We love you guys for supporting us. Thank you so much. Stick around. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid, so show some love in the chat you wind up in. Keep your hobby going throughout the night, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Adios, gang.
Bye.